Welcome back to Kind of Funny's MCU in review, and shout out to Cameron Kennedy for making a custom variant intro for this Loki MCU in review. As always, I'm Tim Geddes, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Ahoy hoy.
The big dog, Kevin Coelho.
Ahoy hoy.
Come up with some original material, Kevin.
It was a variant on your thing.
He changed it just a little bit.
Andy Cortez.
Chips ahoy.
Oh, indeed.
There's a variant right there.
And of course, we have the producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino.
I like Twinkies.
Oh,
God. I'm excited for this show. I don't know. It's only been a weekend, but it feels like I haven't hung out with you guys in a long time. And like this feels right. I'm excited at this beautiful 3:27 p.m. on a Monday to bring some energy like only we know how, because this is Kind of Funny's MCU in review. Each and every week, we rank and review 2 different movie franchises, and this is where it all began. The MCU, baby. You could watch it on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to get it as a podcast, search your favorite podcast service for Kind of Funny in review, and we'll be right there for you. After this week's MCU in review, we will be returning to Pixar in review for a couple back-to-back episodes to do a little catch up there. Very excited about that. You can get it on podcast services, YouTube, all that stuff. But if you want to get it all ad-free, patreon.com/kindoffunny is where you want to be, just like our Patreon producer, Molecule, is. Thank you very much, Molecule. Today, we're brought to you by MeUndies, Canva, and Upstart, but I will tell you all about that later, because I want to talk to you about Loki. With a runtime of around 4 hours and 20 minutes. Nice. Released on June 9th through July 14th across 6 weekly episodes. It makes it the 3rd Marvel Studios TV show. It was directed by Kate Herron, an English director, writer, and producer. Her particular focus is female-led comedy. She directed and executive produced the first season of Disney Plus series Loki. She directed every single episode, like we've talked about on these Disney Plus shows. That's usually not how TV shows are made, but so far for the MCU shows, they have been doing that. That's why there's a little bit more consistency and they feel like one long movie. She made the Forbes 30 Under 30 list in 2017. She was born 1 year before me in 1988. And she made Loki.
Yeah. And you're hosting this podcast.
And I'm hosting this podcast.
But you're on the same 30 Under 30 list, though, right?
Did she make the real list, or she made like one of the bullshit little side lists?
Yeah, in entertainment. I can't tell you any details around there.
There are no bullshit side lists, Kevin. When you're in, you're in.
Sure, Andy.
You're in.
Okay.
Yeah, you just put it on there. And that's how it is. Just put on your other thing. Nobody ever looks into it again.
Here,
what else? So you got other things on her, Tim. You have You have like 50,000 more Twitter followers there. That's cool.
Okay, cool. The things that matter.
Mm-hmm. Like
her dog looks older than Moose, so that you got that going for you.
Mm-hmm. A bit older, yeah.
Thank you, guys. I needed this. I needed this boost.
You joined Twitter before her.
Oh shit!
You got the beat on that.
Well,
yeah. That'll explain the followers.
Set the trends, yeah.
Give her a couple years.
She recently did an interview with Deadline, saying that she is not returning for season 2. I always planned to be just on for this one, and to be honest, season 2 wasn't in the cards. It wasn't something that was just, it just came out, and I'm so excited. I'm really happy to watch it as a fan next season, but I just think I'm proud of what we did here, and I've given it my all. I'm working on some other stuff yet to be announced, and when asked if she will be involved with another Marvel movie, she said, no, I'm just focused on my own stuff at the moment. I love Marvel, and I'd like to work with them again, but my outing with Loki is what I've done with them. I put my all into it, and it was exactly the story I wanted to tell. So, interesting stuff.
Definitely something to be proud of.
It definitely, and it's interesting because a lot of the other directors and screenwriters and the different behind the scenes people on these shows have already officially been announced to be on different projects. So she kind of marks the first big one that's not now tied to another movie or another show or something. The music was done by Natalie Holt. She's primarily recognized for her work on several notable productions, including Loki and Paddington. So Elise Williams out there stoked about this. I freaking loved her work on the show. Definitely one of the standouts in the MCU as a whole for me. So shout out to you, Natalie Holt. Would love to hear more. The budget, last reported, these shows have a 25 million an episode budget. This number is the same number we heard for Loki, Falcon Winter Soldier, and Wanda. They never kind of like went into particulars about where that all laid. So don't know much more there. And this show does, in fact, pass the Bechdel test multiple times over. The Bechdel test is a measure of the representation of women in fiction, asking whether a work features at least two women who talk to each other about something other than a man. And so, yeah, good job, Loki. You did it. You did it. But before we get into the plot, I want to go around and talk to all of you about what you thought. Andy, I want to start with you.
Fantastic show all around. I think that the runtime worked. I never felt like it overstayed its welcome. I feel like there was only one episode out of the 6 that I kind of felt a little bit weaker than some of the other ones. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, I just think that every episode brought something really important. And all of those, anytime you did have a question, there was going to be a future episode that kind of showed you exactly what the cause is or what the answer is. And I just think they did a great job all around. And again, the hardest thing to do with these shows has been to stick the landing. And can you make the final episode worth it and kind of have all these storylines kind of wrap up in a satisfying way and have all that setup come together in a satisfying way? And I thought it was phenomenal. My favorite MCU show so far out of the 3. I thought it was just a great job and an absolute recommendation that you have to watch this show.
Greg Miller.
What a great show. You kidding me over here? We had so much fun with Loki, and it was exactly what we've said before, and I will continue to say that I like these Disney Plus shows do. They give us the opportunity to get in there and get deep into a story you wouldn't get in the films, get an offshoot of a character that clearly we know Loki, we've seen Loki, but he's always the second banana, right? He's always the antagonist. He's always just something else happening. We don't get to get lost with him and see really how his mind works and stuff. And I thought that was really rewarding in this series. The idea of getting to know him beyond just the big grand plan that fails or the one punchline or his interactions with Thor. I liked getting to see how his mind worked. I liked getting to see him get drunk. I liked getting to see him, obviously wrestle with his own mortality and his death, and then wrestle with this idea that Lokis are just there to fail, and then try to bring that to something that could do good, let alone fall in love, right? Like, I thought this was such a special show and gave us a side of a character that I wouldn't have, at the start of this, I wouldn't have thought of Loki in the same way I thought of a Falcon or a Winter Soldier or Scarlet Witch, right? In the way of like, oh, like I've seen a lot of Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I've seen him in a lot of projects. I've seen him over a decade do this role. Like, I know what he's going to bring to the table here. And I thought he brought a really rewarding Loki, let alone Sylvie that would come out, let alone here at the end. Like the fact that this is the first show that delivered on the promise of changing the MCU, right? And not the promise, I shouldn't say that, but it's the first show that I feel like we all had a lot of grand ideas about that, we didn't see delivered on necessarily in WandaVision. We didn't see delivered on necessarily in Falcon and Winter Soldier. This was the one that ended and it's like, holy shit, I cannot wait for the next wave of Marvel movies. Like, this is going to have dramatic effects.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun the entire time. I thought that they dove deep into a character that we had already been established with, but we hadn't spent enough time with. And it was cool to see Tom Hiddleston be able to act through different things. Like the whole tone of the first episode of him kind of coming to terms with the scale of the power they were setting up was so cool, and what an amazing acting job for everyone involved. They did a really good job. I liked it a lot.
Oh yeah, good show. I think it's the best of the Disney Marvel TV shows, the cinematic universe TV shows. I enjoyed it for all the same reasons you guys did. I still, I stand by the fact that I wish they just put them all out. The week to week stuff, while great for podcast content, is I want to see them all. I want to see them all when I can. I just started watching Ted Lasso and I finished the first season in like a hot second. So I was like, yeah, this is the way it's supposed to go. And of course, it just leaves you with a void in the pit of your stomach that can never be filled. I digress though. I still think that these are, while good, I still don't think they've hit a great mark for me.
Wow.
I enjoy them. But these aren't must see TV for me by any stretch of the imagination still. And I think that when I think about the Marvel movies and the excitement that I had, even just going into Black Widow, I don't have that same level of excitement because I just know it's not going to be the same experience. And that's not to say it's lesser. It's just different. Actually, no, I guess that is to say it's lesser a little bit. But for me, they're good and they're fun, but they still kind of hit on that mark of like, this is cool kind of filler content while we're waiting for the movies to come out. But I enjoy every single episode of it. I don't think it was time that was wasted in any shape of the imagination. I just kind of wish, I would love to see what they would do with all those resources and maybe make a smaller movie.
I really, really, really love this show, and I think that it is kind of everything I love about the MCU in one project, and it's definitely in my topper tier. Maybe not top tier, but like it is definitely higher up there for me, equal with a lot of the higher movie projects. And I think the reason for that is it tells a really good standalone story. Like this is, in my opinion, must-see TV, and it does work just as a standalone thing, but it also enhances the MCU, both like what Greg is saying of having big consequences we're going to deal with in future movies, but then also rewarding us with the Easter eggs, both as comic readers, with more references than we've ever seen in these shows so far, and it honestly rivaling any movie we've had to some extent so far, with just fun little things that are adding up. And on top of that, more importantly, is referencing and using good utilization of MCU characters that we know. Like Lady Sif coming back as a surprise is the perfect type of thing I want to see from these shows. And I think the shows have proved that any character in the MCU can be deep and can be somebody that we root for and want to get behind and learn more about and care about their relationships. But it's the side characters in the shows that I think really help make them shine. And this one introduced a fantastic cast when you include Owen Wilson, when you include Miss Minutes, like all of this stuff, like I was involved and invested in them. I want to see them in future shows. And I think that so far all three of the shows have done that to some extent. And on top of that, this show kind of did the things I want to from an MCU property, which is set up a great thing, have great moments, but not feel too derivative of things we've seen before. And I said it a million times, I'm going to keep saying it, like the episode 5 fight with Goliath and the way they did all that stuff and the way they set it up and just paid it off so perfectly, I'm so impressed by, because just doing a big giant CG mess fight, we've seen it many times, and it didn't work in WandaVision. It's the weakest part of WandaVision. I think in Loki, they made it work within this world and be believable, and it's one of my top MCU moments of all time. And I definitely didn't expect that, because going into this show, it was the one I was least interested in. But I think that I was silly to feel that way. And
Silly.
I think that there's things, it's not perfect. I think there's a reason it's not in that top tier for me. And it's because some of the things didn't have enough time. I think Renslayer's character was a little bit weak, and I struggled to be too interested in seeing where she's going and all that stuff. And I think that the show hit a point where the TVA became way less interesting than anything else we were dealing with. And that sucks, because that isn't something that we've had in the other shows so much, where I feel like it hit a certain point where everyone would just be together moving forward. And this, I think anytime it bought back, it was like, all right, this is things happening, I guess, but like, it's not that interesting. And a lot of that had to do with Renslayer and the kind of ambiguity of who she is and where she fits into all of this. And I think that the thing they did with her in the last episode, where it kind of flashed back to her being a principal in 2018, it was like, that felt like a really not interesting move to me in a show filled with interesting moves. But we have a season 2 to kind of address all that. And so we'll see.
That felt dope as hell to me.
Quick question, or not question, but comment. But like, don't you think like the setup of her, because at the end, Miss Minutes is like, hey, Ravonna, like, come with me, or like, look at this file, and then she goes off to do something mysterious. I feel like that's such a good setup on the like. I don't think it matters who these variants are versus who they become. You know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, my problem with it is I just rewatched all of them, and I've now rewatched all 3 shows 3 full times. I watch them once by myself, one with Gia, and then just over time as I watch them more in like a binge fashion to see how it works together. And I think Loki is easily the best show to rewatch. I think because every episode like has more things, and understanding timeline stuff always works that way, right? Where it just enhances the entire property, and the way that they ask questions in an episode and answer them, you see how that all kind of fits is great. But getting to that end point with Renslayer, it's weird because in the last episode, it's not clear. It seems like she doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know who he remains at all, but then almost flips on that immediately. And it's like, so whatever Miss Minute showed her really changed her mind on some things. And I just feel like they don't know the answer. And it's like, oh, we'll put it through this door and we'll figure it out next season. As opposed to me feeling like, oh, they're building to something and they know what they're doing.
It did. I will say it did seem weird not to have sort of like a conclusive thing for her at the end of this. So I'll agree on that one. True. But you know, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I think she's very much going to set up one of the King the Conquerors, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
Plot. Go, Greg. How are we doing this?
That's how we're gonna phone in the plot song today. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the plot for the Disney Plus original Loki, starring Loki. This, of course, begins in a little movie called Avengers Endgame, but it also kind of begins in a little movie called Avengers. But we'll go to the Endgame section, right? They're all time traveling, bebopping around the timeline, and they're like, we got to get these Infinity Stones. Remember, because Thanos, he was snapping and he was getting his groove on, as the kids say. And so we go back to right after the Avengers defeated Loki in the Battle of New York in the old Avengers. And you know what happens is, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the movie. You know what happens. They get the Tesseract. They start to leave. Hulk smashes a door into Robert Downey Jr., a.k.a. Tony Stark. The Tesseract flies to Loki's foot. He grabs it and bloops away. And so you already knew all that. And I think you were all in the same boat, right, ladies and gentlemen? You expected it to be that, he blooped into the timeline, the future, the whatever. He's using the Tesseract. You didn't think time. He's using the Tesseract. We saw this stuff of him being President Loki. We saw this stuff ahead of time of him, different outfits for Loki. You were like, a lot of time is going to have passed. We all left Endgame. He's got the Tesseract. He started a new timeline. We know it's going to the Disney Plus thing. Can't wait to see what this guy's up to. He's going to cause some real shenanigans. And it turns out, no, he doesn't. As soon as he bops out with the Tesseract to wherever he lands in a new place, he demands to those people, hey, guess what? I'm the ruler. They don't understand him. And then these people from the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, immediately show up and they're like, come with us. You're under arrest. And so they arrest Loki there.
Dope as fuck. Time cops are always cool. And I think that this show did them very well.
Yeah, and I like that for me personally, to look back now, and I have not gone back and rewatched it because I'm not a badass like Tim. I like that this did. Again, just for remembrance, I did play through Avengers, the video game, so I do have some information on Black Widow, and I do have some more information on Loki, who does appear there. Don't forget, and everything else like that. Ever. And so the thing I did appreciate about this was that immediately opens defying expectations, because I did expect it to be that we are going to see, he bops away with the Tesseract, and then whatever he does, we're going to see what he does there, and that's where we'll get President Loki. That's where we get. You don't. He's immediately caught. Time Variance Authority, the TVA, is on top of this. So they nab him, and they take him to the TVA, which is in the quantum realm. Take it to the bank. Don't worry about it. Ant-Man taught us well. And there, guess what? Owen Wilson.
Someone's been watching TikTok.
Wow, I have been watching the TikToks and there. Time moves differently. They said that a lot in Ant-Man. They say it a lot here too. Don't forget about it.
They jumping with that though. You're bringing up theories here. Like it being in the quantum realm, I do think is a safe bet, but there is a lot of questions because this show ending with them being in the TVA, which was kind of implied to be its own thing out of time. It's like clearly they went back to a different TVA. So it's like, is there just a lot of multiple things that are out of time, that are out of the rules of the timelines?
That's interesting.
And then
wait, what do you lost me? I'm sorry. I caught up here at the end, but what happened?
So like the rules the show sets up, right, are that in the TVA, the Infinity Stones are useless, like time works differently, like all that stuff. But they are in this place where they're just being able to jump two different timelines, but it's like kind of existing outside of time.
Of all the timelines, yeah.
And the only other thing in the show we know that exists outside of the timeline is the end of time thing, like the place that they're at in the last episode. And when they send him back and
Avoid.
Mobius being reset and all this stuff, it's like they set it up in a nice way that like they could do a lot of different things with it, but it could be a completely different TVA, which then implies they're in a completely different universe.
What would you do if you were in a place without time? Like what? If you just had whatever, I would watch all the Lord of the Rings. I'd watch the extended editions trilogy.
That'd be it. Then you'd run out. Yeah.
I think you wouldn't be able to watch the Snyder cut though, and it's just like not enough. They don't have time for that.
That's a lot of extended.
That's a big time void.
Big old extended.
Void of fun. Take a shot at me. Your fucking nerd films are way longer than that one film.
Void of fun.
when Loki goes back to the TVA, like that's after. I guess that's before Ravonna or before. What are they calling him now? The King the Conqueror gets stabbed, right? So it is weird that he goes to a different reality. He remains.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're talking about, right? So to be clear, Andy gave probably the shittiest intro to a plot ever. I'm 3 seconds into the plot, and we're now talking about the end of the final episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then my point would be this then. So what are you talking about? That he's in a different timeline, right? When he comes back at the end of the episode, when Loki jumps back and tries to go tell Mobius, right? And he gets there and he runs up to Mobius. This isn't the same timeline he's from. That's a new timeline. That's a new reality.
The TVA should be a constant. There should be no multiple timeline TVAs.
Right. As to why that was reset, it would be weird.
But I mean,
and it was
that's
reset.
things that they'll have to explain
I see
later.
what you're saying.
Yeah,
and
I only brought
reset.
the end up now because you were bringing up your theory about the quantum realm.
I was just fucking around. You know me. I don't care about this shit. Let's talk about Superman. Doesn't matter. Shit. Fuck. Okay, that's interesting. Because my thought. You're right. My thought had been, I'm sure, what they wanted me to think, which is that there's now infinite number of timelines. It's like Sliders. It's like the Jerry O'Connell hit TV show Sliders.
Yeah, but that would have happened after Ravonna, or not Ravonna. Sorry, female
Sylvie.
Loki stabs
Sylvie.
Sylvie. Thank you. Stabs Kang. Right? Because that's when it starts to splinter off. So you would imagine that's when the realities shatter. But he's already been transported to what seems like the only reality of that one time. Right? Because it's just one ring. That's an interesting point, Tim Tam.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting.
But is it the point? Would the way to get around explaining? It doesn't really help, though, I guess. Since they're cutting off all the branches earlier and never letting it get past the red line, would that then that's the TVA for reality because there's only one reality. But now that there's multiple realities, there'd be multiple TVAs.
That's interesting. What you're saying does make sense. The branches, as long as they haven't cut it, do exist. So it could be that he goes back to a branching. Well, I guess, but that would have already been branched because it branches when something crazy happens. Like, Loki stopped hiding and
self.
Did y'all see, Andy, you're talking about TikTok. Do you see this other TikTok comparing the ending of Loki from when she stabs him to the end of WandaVision? Y'all see this? They lined him up or whatever. They lined him up, and so that if you can find that TikTok, just search. It'll be super simple. There's not that many TikToks. When Sylvie stabs him, they played it concurrently, and it's starting it with Wanda out on her porch with her tea or whatever, and then when she comes back in, does all her stuff, and then everything's happening in Loki. When they see the branches cross the red lines in Loki, that's when she when she's doing all her wish stuff. Here's her kids.
Oh, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's one of those things that I did not fact check to make sure that actually lines up that way. Maybe it was an edit, but I liked it either way. And
I also saw that video and it looked really cool.
It's a fact now. It's a fact.
We just knew TikTok in review.
No, but see, this is something that I do think is interesting is all these shows happening so close back to back to back. Like WandaVision was just a couple months ago that it came out and we're talking about it. And Corona obviously changed the plans of when things were the order of everything. But as disappointing as the Ralph Boner stuff was in WandaVision, now it totally could just be a variant of Quicksilver, where it is the Evan Peters we saw in WandaVision still is a variant of Quicksilver somehow, and then the Evan Peters Quicksilver still is a variant of it. So, this just continues to be MCU movies and shows kind of as they go on, making issues we had with other ones not make more sense, but feel better.
What do you think? What do you think happened in that big meeting that they had, where Kevin Feige sat down? Did you hear about this, Nick? Kevin Feige sat down anybody and everybody who's ever been involved and is going to be involved, and it's like, we're setting the rules, all right?
Rules
Like,
of the multiverse.
these are the rules, all right? So
That's
everybody
awesome.
take your fucking notes out, and we got to be on the same page so that nobody's kind of screwing stuff up for future movies or whatever. That's the coolest thing ever. I wish I was there.
But do you think they're going like full Disney, where it's like, man, if you're the character, you can't say you're the character. You're the character's friend. You know what I mean? You can't tweet and say Vin Diesel is sitting there being like, Groot definitely didn't die. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean.
No, you lost
You
me there.
went
I
off
thought
on
you were
that
going to
so
say that
far.
Groot,
Weird
you couldn't
tangent.
tweet that he was
You know, in
Groot.
Disneyland, when you go to Disneyland, the characters.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with what Andy just said.
Oh, yeah?
All right, so Kevin, I'm sorry. Explain it to me. What happens in Disneyland to Groot and Vin Diesel?
When you're there with Vin Diesel,
For real, I want to know what was this point? I don't understand.
Kevin was starting off as the rules of when you're a Disneyland character, you don't play Aladdin or Jasmine. You are their friends. Like you can't say that you are them because there's only ever one Aladdin or one Jasmine or one whatever, you know. So like I don't know where Kevin was.
Diesel's
So
there, he
I
has to say he's
thought
Groot's
Andy
friend.
was saying he put together all the actors and was like,
Oh no, I just
big-
meant the people
no.
that work on the
no, I
show.
think he did like the producer.
I thought it
Writers.
was like anyone that
Like
has ever
writers.
acted on MCU. He
So they
gathered
bring him
together.
into the TVA and they're like, all right, Loki, you're a troublesome character.
They sit down Vin Diesel and like, listen, we need to explain to you the rules of the multiverse. And Vin just takes a fucking bong rip and he's like, I'm going on Instagram.
So they drag Loki into the TVA and they strip him down and they make him walk through an android detector and they make him sign over the paperwork for what he's ever done. And it's hilarious. It's great. Everybody's having a great time. You're watching this at home. You're going like, this is a great show. Can you believe we get to watch this right now from the comfort of our own homes? This is great.
I'm pointing at nobody. Like, yeah, great show. You believe this?
Eventually, he gets in front of Ravonna, who's a TVA judge or whatever, and she's all like, "Yeah, you suck," and he's like, "No, the Avengers suck," and she's like, "No," and he's like, "Well, they're time traveling," and she's like, "They're supposed to time travel. You weren't supposed to get out. That's the big problem. So I'm afraid, like, you're gonna be pruned, or you're gonna." She doesn't say that. You got trouble here. You're gonna be in trouble here with us, basically, kind of thing. And that around here we get introduced to Owen Wilson, Mobius, and it's not Morbius. A lot of people like Andy have great theories that maybe Morbius and Mobius will work together in an upcoming multiverse picture.
No,
Right, Andy?
Yes,
never once thought that.
Andy, give me the pitch. Give me the
You
pitch.
say
Andy.
This Is Us?
Yeah.
Season 4 gets weird.
Yeah.
Anyways, and so he starts interrogating him, looking for information, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. It's been a long time. Tim's seen it 3 times, and so they're talking about it, and they're like looking at like his life on the board or whatever, and Loki's trying to be a little jerk about it. Mobius won't have it. Finally, he's like, whatever, like fuck you, and they walk away, and they walk back, and they walk away, and they're interrogating. It's good cop and it's bad cop kind of stuff. And so eventually, I forget how Loki gets to go through his own future. Maybe they show him his own future that he's supposed to die by Thanos, but he learns that Thanos is going to kill him.
He watches the recording thing, right?
Videos.
And then he calls himself his friend, not to get Disney mad at him. And so then he goes, oh man, I'm going to die to Thanos. That sucks. And eventually he gets out somehow. I don't remember. And then he gets in and he runs around and he runs to the guy who was nice to him, but isn't like a big guy. He's not a Mobius guy, but he's a little bit, we're going to call him Mini Mobius. All right. Pete the Mini Mobius,
Mini
man.
Moby.
Mini Moby. Anyways, he finds a bunch of Infinity Stones, and that's when he's like, "Wait, there's like, there's so many Infinity Stones." The guy's like, "Yeah, like your powers don't work here. By the way, nobody's powers work here. Like this place, is weird." And Loki's like, is this the most powerful thing in the universe? And he's like, kind of, or whatever. And so then, they catch back up to him and he's like, you're in trouble. And he's like, no, I'm ready to play fair. I understand what's going on here. I'll help you out. And they're like, great, come with us. We're going to take you on a mission kind of thing. And like, what's the mission? He's like, and this is like the cliffhanger. He's like, no, we're going after a Loki. We're going after a variant. Like we're going after you. It's like, oh my God, that's fucking crazy. Oh my God, that's fucking crazy. And then from there, it's like, all right, cool. Now we're out and we're going to go to one of these world ending events or whatever, where all these people die. They don't call it that yet, but we'll eventually learn what it is. Right. And so we go there and this is the hurricane, Tim. Do we go right there?
No, we see Sylvie, hooded Sylvie, before it's revealed she's Sylvie at the end of episode 1, right? Where it's like her on that field with the oil. And then it's revealed that she's pruning pruning the
We go to the
different
Renaissance
timelines.
Fair, right?
Yeah, that's the beginning of episode 2.
That's where we're at now.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
So then, yeah, we're at the Renaissance Fair, and like they're kind of going in. They think they found her. They're hunting her down because she's been going around pruning the timelines.
Sure, but it's not her. But they go into a thing and they think it's going to be her, and then she steals their bombs, or she uses one of their bombs, or something. Something
Fucks
to that
them
effect.
up.
There's a bomb in
I need a hero.
in a circus. I know that part.
And then she mind fucks what's her face.
B85 or whatever.
Yeah.
B95.
She mind fucks one of them.
Mhm.
Grabs her
C20, right?
forehead.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Oh, right. I'm thinking of the
that happens, and they're like, "All right, cool, you did that." And when are we? Is this not the episode? Whatever, I don't know. We're doing this in fast motion. Whatever. They do all this shit. They do all that stuff. They start piecing together the world-ending shit that they can do whatever they want there, and it won't matter. And so, like, Mobius and Loki figure that out, and then they go to Pompeii, right, where there's the Mount Savuvu is about to explode, Kevin.
Dubious.
And they're like, "Here we go."
Vesuvius.
I'm sorry, Mount Vuvu.
I believe I said Mount
Vesuvius.
Vuvu, everyone.
Mount
All right.
Savuvu.
Mount
Vuvuzela.
Vuvu, you know what I mean?
Vesuvius.
And so they go there to Mount Vuvu, and it's gonna blow up or whatever. And they're like, "Neato Kino, we can do whatever we want. Nothing matters. This is great. Guess what? Bam, we figured it out. This is where the variant Loki is staying. They are inside of these world-ending events. That's how they're able to do stuff and stay off the TVA's radar. And they're like, great. Now we just need to find which one of these things they're in or whatever, right? And
The
so,
coolest concept of all time. Like when you already know that the concept is you are hiding in apocalypses, but when Sylvie spells it out like in episode 4 or whatever, I'm going from the end of worlds to end of worlds. It's like that's the coolest shit of all I've ever heard. Like that's such
dope.
a cool Kojima-esque thing.
And so we got that. We'll figure that out. They track it back that it's going to be at this hurricane in like 2050. And it's going to be this hurricane there. It's going to be at a Walmart, but it's like a Roxxon Mart or whatever, of course, calling out to other Marvel stuff. And cool, they go there, and like all these people are going to die, but they can't tell them. And it's raining, and there's a thunder clap outside, and Loki looks to the sky, and it's because he's afraid of Thor. But that's a great move. That was a little unspoken thing that I didn't know until I saw it on TikTok. Thanks, TikTok. But they walk in, they're like, Jiminy Christmas, this is sure as a hurricane, and Loki uses his powers to dry himself off, and I'm like, that's cool. And they walk around, and they're like, man, sure are a lot of things going on here, and they split up and stuff. Isn't this where he enchants B-15? You all said it's the Renaissance Fair, but it was here, right? Because
C20 was the Renaissance Fair. B15 was in the Ross
there you go.
Park.
Yeah, you're right. I apologize. You are correct, right? Yeah. Because that's what B20 goes off a rocker, right? Because she remembers. It turns out everybody when Sylvie does this, you get into a happy memory, and that's how she milks you for your information, right?
Mhm.
Nick, I touch your head right now. What happy memory am I going to?
Oh man,
don't
that
ask,
time
no.
that you sent me that picture of you shirtless on a bed.
I was gonna say Twinkies and soda. As a 10-year-old, Nick is just like,
Can I be Twinkie the Kid?
Or
Can I talk
literally
to
last
Twinkie the
night.
Kid?
Can you be what, Greg?
Can I be Twinkie the Kid in this memory?
I don't
Yeah,
like
sure.
this.
Sure,
Thank you very much.
We'll stop
Twinkie
there.
the Kid.
We'll stop
What the
there.
hell is Twinkie the Kid? Did you just say, Andy?
Yeah.
Oh Lord,
He's
I can't
Twinkie.
wait to see Andy's face. Can't wait.
He's
to see
the
it.
mascot of Twinkies. He
He's
has a
the
cowboy
Twinkie
hat.
logo.
Yeah, he's Twinkie logo.
Made his debut in 1971. What the fuck?
Kevin, I need you to pull up Twinkie the Kid right now, because I'll tell you
I'm
right
on
now.
it.
Little band. I want to see Greg Miller cosplay as him, and it might need some censoring, but
Sure.
I want it to
There's,
be comic accurate.
There's a
Twinkie the
version of
Kid is
Twinkie
an
the Kid that
he's
I'm
an
looking at. He has
anthropomorph-
abs right now.
Anthropomorphized Twinkie appearing as a wrangler. He wears boots, gloves, and a kerchief with just call it a handkerchief. Don't say kerchief. I hate that when you just call it a handkerchief. We know what that is. A kerchief, weird. A
A
10-gallon
handkerchief,
hat.
though, you'd think is like in your pocket. What you said, I would know would be around his neck because it's not a
Bandana.
handkerchief.
It's called a bandana.
Okay, that's
Kevin,
not a real Twinkie the
Kevin.
Kid photo.
Sorry, is that?
Can I get a
that's-
Twinkie the Kid official?
That's him now. That's him now.
That's not him now. That is you.
There,
There
you
you
happy?
go. You know, God. Trying to say how cool this is.
God.
Kevin goes out of his way to find this depressed Twinkie the Kid image. Let me tell you, if you're an audio
Twinkie the
listener, you
man.
saved yourself that. Remember what Twinkie the Kid looks like in your head, not what this deviant art thing looks like. Looks
Okay,
like
check this
Twinkie
out.
the corn dog.
This is a weird part of the wiki that I just need to point out, and I think we move on immediately because it says he appeared on product packaging in commercials and as related collectible merchandise, except for a brief period between 88 and 1990. What happened in those 2 years?
You know how it was? It was grunge music was taken off, and like everybody thought they had to get different. They thought they had to get rough. They didn't understand the power of nostalgia. Right now, Andy, you go out there with a microphone on the street, right? You interview 100 people, 99 of them have great Twinkie the Kid memories, all right?
I doubt it.
There's really one of them that's a baby and doesn't know anything, but he'll know about Twinkie the Kid one day. I assure you.
Highly doubt it.
And then
we're in the rocks cart.
Yeah. We're there again. This is all right. So this is where we got caught up. Sylvie, who don't know Sylvie yet, keeps fighting from the shadows and enchanting different people around there. And this is where she enchants B-15 and the B-52s. What is this, Kevin?
Oh God.
Oh hey, this is actually kind of funny.
Twinkie and Ho-Ho.
Oh, it's me and Kevin as Twinkie the Kid and Ho-Ho the other
Kevin,
kid.
You're Ho-Ho's now.
Now, was there a Ho-Ho the Kid?
I don't know.
Twinkie the Kid. So. That's accurate. I like that.
Why is Ho-Ho's Robin Hood? Why is he dressed as a Robin Hood?
Who knows? It's probably some stupid joke we had.
God, we are dumb.
So she eventually, enchants the B-52, and then she goes down, and Loki's fighting or about to fight, and he's like, "Why don't you just show yourself or whatever?" And then she shows herself. She comes out, and she's Sylvie, and it's like, "What?" And at the same time, she had all these bombs that she had stolen from the TVA that she was going to set off at once, and that was going to be the big event. And so she sets off the big event, right? And the thing goes, and we see all the timelines start going crazy, and everybody at the TVA is like, all the timelines are going crazy. This will probably be the thing that totally ends everything we know in the world. And so they all run out of the TVA to come back to the Roxxon thing in the hurricane to then fight. And then while that happens, Sylvie uses this as her chance to go back to the TVA to fuck up the TVA and kill the time Guardians. What are the names?
Keepers.
Timekeepers. And she leaves the door open, and Loki looks at the door, and then Owen Wilson, everybody. What? Okay, so I understand Twinkie the Kid.
Yeah,
I understand now.
What is happening with?
I understand. Ho-Ho the Robin Hood.
Happy Ho-Ho is his name.
What do we call the cupcake man?
Captain
Cupcake.
Something.
What
are those
cupcake?
What are those cupcakes called?
And then then over here, this magician hostess cream pie or not cream pie, hostess pies or whatever?
I think so, yeah.
Remember those pies we get?
Looks like a chicken. He looks like
those pies.
A non-purple version of that
Grimace.
McDonald's mascot, Grimace. Yeah.
Some fucking respect on
He
him.
also looks he looks deranged with those.
Yeah,
eyes.
I could see that one being Nick. If anyone wants to redo that and add Nick and I don't know, let's say Greg for Captain.
Greg can be Captain Ho-Ho. I would like to be the deranged pie.
Yeah,
because you know what? On the far right, it could be Nick in his band major outfit.
Okay, well,
Drum major.
That's good.
It's insulting enough that they're gonna draw my face onto that thing. You didn't have to bring my high school career into this.
You're gonna get the uniform.
And again, this is just where you feel bad because it's the same thing of like, we'll get to Ghostbusters in review, but when I knew years before that they would bring back Ghostbusters and they would do it all computer effects and stuff like that, right? You look at this quartet of cartoon treats. You look at the Captain Cupcake. You look at Twinkie the Kid, right? Yeah. And you say, damn, they have personality. They have panache. Kevin, on top of the Twinkie the Kid family there, put in 1988 McDonald's mascots, all right? Please. And you show me Mayor McCheese. You show me the Hamburglar. You show me the Fry Kids. You show me the Nuggets. And I will show you whimsy and magic. And the kids being able to believe that they can become anything they want. Now, what do they turn on when they see a McDonald's commercial? I don't know. An apple? Like, nobody's having fun in the McDonald's commercials. And if they are having fun, it's all fucking CG. It's not a man with a painted face talking to a little Muppet McNugget. Yeah. It's not, all right?
Hey, Look at this family. Do you not remember the hot Hamburglar?
Yeah, that lasted for. I remember this because I brought it up recently, and they got rid of that. They said, not only are we not going to have a Hamburglar, we're not going to have a hot Hamburglar. We're just going to sell you food.
You admit he was hot, Craig.
Oh, I never denied it. You know what I mean?
Yes, you did. That was the whole conversation that we don't need to get into now, but I'm really pissed off that you're doing this.
Look at, no, stay zoomed in. Stay zoomed in. Go down, over to the right, and then give me a full stop with Ronald centered. Look at how adorable the burger is and the milkshake or drink is.
But they're sadists. They're like, oh,
tell me you don't want to fucking party with those guys.
I want to eat that.
Right? Now you go to McDonald's, they want to give you an apple slice and an orange juice. Get the fuck out of here. Remember the fucking play sets that were like scalding hot metal in the sun? Like we look, and Kevin, enhance on all the burgers there that the hamburger that is trying to steal, eat, and that are sentient. You know what I mean? Those are the nuggets. I appreciate you down. Look at these guys.
Well, I gotta get
Andy,
there, right?
is there anything more delicious to look at right now than a treasure chest full of sentient hamburgers?
What
And
are these
cheeseburgers,
koosh balls to
and
the left and
cheeseburgers.
right?
Those are
of
the
them?
fry guys. Those are the fry guys.
Nick Scarpino from Kind of Funny.
Greg, when you were a kid, did you somehow always burn your upper thigh on those play sets? It was
Oh
always
my
my
God,
upper
yes.
thigh.
What are you talking
Always.
about? Playset.
You stumble, you're up there. First off, yeah, you're inside of Mayor McCheese in the jail thing, and it's just baking in the sun.
It's
Like,
so
why
hot.
did you enter and now you're trapped?
It's
The
like
middle was
it's,
so hot.
it's like a fucking biodome in there, man. It's got its own little ecosystem. You know?
The ho-ho is named Happy Ho-Ho.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, it
cupcake is Captain Cupcake.
Yeah,
and the
Captain
ding dong is King Ding Dong. So
Now
we
we're
can
getting to
move-
the bottom
we
of
can
this.
go- we can go back to Loki.
I would like to be King Ding
There's a
Dong.
lot
I
of
think
them, by
just
the way.
King
There's
Dong.
way more. There's way more.
Ding Dong.
I
Please
said we
draw
should
the
move
entire
on, but then
extended
I added
Kind of Funny
King Dong.
yeah. King Dong.
She teleports away. Mobius runs up and he's like, "No, Loki, don't do it." And Loki's like, "Shrug," and he runs through the thing. And they're like, "No." And then we just never pick up the thing about the bombs going off. The thing, they didn't do anything. They looked like they were doing it, but the TVA were able to stop it. So then
Diversion was a diversion, Greg.
I know, but we're never gonna solve what happened, and you know what I mean. Like everybody's real
matter.
pissed about this on the internet. You know what I mean? And so they go in there, they go to the TVA now, right? And they're bopping around the TVA, they're running around looking for shit, and eventually they run into Ramona, right? Ramona Flowers or
Yeah.
somebody here,
Mhm.
and this is where they have the
Real
conversation
quick,
of like,
Greg.
"Do you even remember what you did to me?" Yeah.
I do want to say, like, without brushing past and without going too deep into what you just said about the time bomb stuff, if anybody has a deeper understanding than I do, I'm struggling to understand what the plan was of bombing all the things with these reset bombs, because it would just bring things back to where they were going to be anyway. So if anyone has insight, let me know in the comments, and I'll have a
Wait.
good time with you.
Kevin
Weren't-
scuttled back. He's got something to say.
Weren't they essentially making it so all the TVA agents had to go out and try to fix things?
Yes, but like,
so they
what was
emptied out. They empty out the TVA. Like, if you're gonna create, let's talk Fast and Furious 5, right? They want to steal the
I
vault
understand why
from
she
the
did it.
police station. They got all the cops out. Remember, they called and they were like, "It's Jaws." I don't remember what they said, but all the cops were out. That way, they can come in and sneak in, right?
Yes, but why did they need
So
to
that
all
she
leave?
can, so that she can go in and kill the timekeepers.
No, I understand that part. Okay, let's continue.
Well, I don't get what
Kevin's
you're confused
asking.
about.
No, Kevin. He's asking why did all of the TVA people have to leave the TVA to go to do this job where all these bombs are going off?
The way the show sets up the rules of the bombs, her bombing the timeline didn't make sense. And I want to understand
The bombs
what they were
affect
doing.
everyone equally. Doesn't matter if you're like, right? Like if the bomb goes off when, like, someone who's in the correct timeline, it would still fuck them up and send them to the like end of time.
The bombs went off inside of the store, right?
The bombs went off everywhere, Andy.
They were appearing back at the TVA. I always forgot what happened there. Yeah, I'm as equally as confused.
Remember the song? You dropped a bomb on me by the Gap Band. Come on.
I swear to God, I thought he was going to bring up Rockin' Robin.
What a jam. Hold on. Before I even go further, I got to like this song. I got to listen to this in
Yeah.
full later on, right?
Good.
God damn, man. And look at this. Look at how happy they are to be the Gap Band, Candy.
Can't
God
see
damn
it.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How
There it
happy
is.
they are,
They're
you
happy.
know?
They're
So here we
happy.
are. We're at the end of episode 2 with
I
her
already went through.
teleporting
I'm
away.
already done. I'm
Yeah.
already done. They went through the hole. They're in there now. They're all doing the thing. She's running around. This is when they ran into Ramona Flowers, and she's like, "What up, man?" And she's like, "You did this to me, and you ruined my life, or whatever." And she's like, "I don't remember. No, is this where? No, this isn't that I don't remember. Doesn't matter. They get the thing. They get the temp pad. They shoot off to Lamentus. They're like, "Brrrr." And Loki's like, "I saved us." Yeah. What do you got?
Hey, real quick. So when all those bombs went off, they created new timelines because they fucked things up. So the TVA has to go before the time goes off and like get rid of the time bombs so the time bombs don't go off. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess it sucks, but all right.
I mean, yeah, it was kind of a whatever plan, but she just wanted to empty out the TVA.
You were the girl that changed my world. You were the girl for me. You lit the fuse. I stand accused. You were the first for me.
Oh,
but you turned me out, baby. You dropped a bomb on me. Baby, you dropped a bomb on me. This is one of those things where, like a lot of times people are like, oh man, Andy, I know you heard this once, you heard it twice. You sync up Dark Side of the Moon, you watch Wizard of Oz. It's a whole thing. This song might sync up with Loki. That's right there. You were the girl that changed my world. You were the girl for me. You lit the fuse. I stand accused. You were the first for me.
A lot of Wizard of Oz references in this show.
No, I'm not making a Wizard of Oz reference. I'm asking, did these lyrics inspire Loki? Because you were the girl, Sylvie, that changed my world. Loki, you were the girl for me.
Any more obvious?
You lit the fuse. We were just talking about the bombs. I stand accused. He was accused of all this variant stuff.
Is anyone else concerned?
You were the
about
first
Nick?
for me. This is the first time they ever fell in love. You were my thrills. You were my pills. You dropped a bomb on me.
Think you might be onto something.
Just like Adam and Eve said,
make the TikTok here so other podcast episodes can refer to this. Oh yeah, I saw some TikTok. There was this random song I've never heard of, and apparently it matches up perfectly, except it doesn't at all. I'm not going to look though; it doesn't matter.
I do want to interrupt the whole show with this. Is it a wig? I don't know. Wigging out with Scarpino.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Wigging Out with Scarpino. I stepped away for a second to answer a question from my wife and give me a little bit of a beef jerky, but I'm just going to go into it. Tom Hiddleston's hair in this is absolutely terrible. It is the worst thing ever, and I don't think it's a wig. I think it's extensions, and I think Andy, if we could have, is it a wig?
Yeah.
Okay, it's terrible. It's absolutely atrocious. I don't know why they wouldn't let him have his hair. Let him do a thing where they cut the hair. It's just like Natalie Portman from V for Vendetta.
Yeah, it's obsession with hair.
Or is this wig better than the one in Ragnarok? I would say yes, because I hated his Tommy Wiseau really curly, wavy hair in the back. I like when it's a little straighter of a curl in the back. I don't like it's all wavy.
An A/B test of Ragnarok hair versus Loki hair, but either way, you can tell, Kevin, when you run. The hair never quite looks right. It doesn't get the right bounce. The air doesn't go through it the right way.
There's so much happening, though, every time you ran.
I'll tell you what, it takes me out of it completely. That's why I give this a 7 out of 10 instead of an 8 out of 10.
Before we move on, let me tell you about our sponsors.
Jesus Christ.
This podcast is brought to you by MeUndies. MeUndies believes that your comfort is about more than what's touching your skin. It's about being comfortable in your skin. And when you're truly comfortable, you get a slam dunk kind of feeling, That's right, MeUndies and Space Jam are bringing you new undies. Ladies and gentlemen, I only wear MeUndies. A long time ago, I found out how comfortable they were, threw away the rest of my underwear, and only buy MeUndies. I still do to this day. And the Space Jam one is interesting for people like Blessing. MeUndies' new Space Jam print features Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, and other iconic characters who are all tuned up and ready for a rematch. MeUndies are made from micromodal fabric, which is not only soft, but breathable, light, and impossibly cozy. Check out their new Space Jam collection in the softest undies, socks, bralettes, dog hoodies, and loungewear, available in sizes XS to 4XL. Here's your chance, do your dance, to score their new collection before the clock runs out. To get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/morning. That's MeUndies.com/morning. Up next is Canva. We've talked about Canva a lot, ladies and gentlemen. If you are making things on the internet and you need video, you need audio, you need Canva Pro. Tim's been using it. Roger's been using it. Nick has been using it. Anybody who's not just screaming into a microphone all day like me at Kind of Funny is using it to make our stuff better. Canva Pro is the easy-to-use design platform that has everything you need to design like a pro. Whether you're a professional designer or just getting started, Canva Pro can help boost you and your team's productivity and creativity. Canva Pro has everything you need in one place, including a collection of over 75 million premium photos, videos, audio, and graphics. Design like a pro with Canva Pro. Right now, you can get a free 45-day extended trial when you use our promo code. Just go to canva.me/kindafunny to get your free 45-day extended trial. That's canva.me/kindafunny.
canva.me/kindafunny. And our final sponsor of the day is Upstart. If you're carrying a credit balance month after month, it can feel like you're in a never-ending cycle of debt. Upstart can help you make that final payment so you can get ahead. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan all online. Unlike other lenders, Upstart considers your income and current employment to find you a smarter rate for your loan. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate upfront for loans between $1,000 to $50,000. You can receive the funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/KFMB. That's upstart.com/KFMB. Don't forget to use our URL so that they know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your application. Go to upstart.com/KFMB.
This might be one of the worst episodes of In Review.
I'm having a great time.
I came in with such high hopes, guys. My energy was like tip top, ready to go, and here we are. Here we are. It's okay. There's still time for it to pick up, make some more sense.
Audio listeners, Greg is currently making the TikTok that Tim told him to make, so that's on you, Tim. You cannot blame him for this.
Yep, my fault.
He is currently explaining to the TikTok audience his I dropped a bomb on you, or whatever the lyric is for that song, and how it may have influenced the events of Loki. He's still going. Here's the problem, is that there's a 3-minute limit on TikToks now. So he may be going the full 3 minutes, and I'm kind of worried about it.
And he's back, everybody.
I made the TikTok.
Yeah, we know.
Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. So
Yeah.
here we are. Lamentus 1.
Yeah.
A moon being crushed by a planet.
They are at what Sylvie calls the worst of all the apocalyptic events. Right? This is one with no survivors. The moon's going to crash in. Everybody's going to die. It's the end of the world kind of thing, right? And they decide, you know what? There's a spaceship that's going to be getting off this rock. We should keep up with them. And they do a thing where they were like, they bicker for a while and run around, and they eventually go to like an old woman's house, right? Remember?
Oh yeah,
and like,
they're not worried at all by these meteors. These meteors are just not a concern.
They were
whatsoever.
super worried when they first got there. You know what I mean?
They were, but like as they go on, they're just strolling, and it's supposed to look like this big art piece of like just two lonely wanderers as the universe is crumbling in on itself. And like my eyes would not leave the sky.
Yeah, well, they're not afraid. In the very beginning, when they like hide from stuff, and she tries to enchant Loki, and we find out she can't enchant Loki. I think we expected they were more worried about stuff there, and then only when it was for the plot they needed to be worried about.
Right.
Anyways, they run around, they can't find anybody. They run to this old woman's house. She blasts them each. She starts blasting. There was a cool thing where they tried to make them look like her husband or whatever, and she's like, I hated my husband. Eventually, though, she's like, listen, there's a fucking thing leaving. They're all trying to. He's like, oh, okay. So they run over there and they want to get on the train. So they're like, oh, how are we into the train? They get on the thing, not train, the spaceship, or the train to get on the spaceship. And so they get on there acting like, Loki's acting like he's one of the guards, and Sylvie's his prisoner. And then they get on there and they sit in the bar cart, and they start. Sylvie, she's not opening up to Loki. She's not.
This is where they fall in love, pretty much.
Now this is still Cheers season 1. Like the first part, they hate
all the seeds are being planted. All the
seeds are being planted. I'm not arguing that.
This is the first time that they're like they work in tangent to make things happen, because he keeps trying to do stuff by just disguising himself, and it isn't until like she gets in there and mind controls people, right, to get onto the train. It wasn't enough that he was disguised. She also had to like okay it with someone else. Yeah. So it's fun to see them. They're like, oh, look, their powers are complementary.
Sure. Eventually, they sit down though, and Loki opens up to her, but she won't open up to Loki. And then we gotta rest because we're coming up. And he's like, you rest your way, I'll rest mine. So she takes a nap, and then she eventually wakes up, and Loki's been drinking, and he's drunk, and he's having a great time with everybody. And I love this. He's singing an old song of Asgard's gone by. You know what I mean? And so eventually, hammered Andy. And so eventually guards come in and they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be here. And so they get in a big fight or whatever, and they all brawl. And then eventually Loki gets thrown out the window, right? And Sylvie goes out the window, and they're both outside the window. And so they're there, and they're like, all right, now we got to keep walking. So they walk the whole way, and they get to where the rocket's launching from, and they got to do something else. There's something else they do around the town, but they're looking around the town for whatever that is, and then all hell starts breaking loose, and the rocks are hitting, and there's like a riot, and they're running around. This is where like it looked like they were just on a very small green screen because they kept running like 2 feet and then stopping, and then running 2 feet and then stopping. Eventually, though, they make their way around like they're going to go get on the big spaceship, and the big spaceship explodes, and then that's the cliffhanger for that episode. Loki, and so
you're like, they're done. There's no shot. What are they going to do?
Yeah, you didn't know this is the final one, right? You didn't realize this was like the end of the whole shebang. I thought there was more episodes, but there are more episodes. And so
this episode was great because it has it really is the beginning of their love of the two of them together, and really kind of that whole love as a dagger speech and all that stuff. And I thought that it really is an example of where these shows are shining, which is the character moments and kind of developing established characters and new characters to become beloved characters.
And so we open the next episode with them kind of lamenting that it's the end of the world or whatever. And they sit there, and she opens up to him here, right? And we get her backstory of her just being a little female Loki on Asgard, playing with her toys. And the TVA shows up and takes her, and we see her Sylvie go through the whole thing. And then they touch hands, right? And that causes this huge spike on the TVA's radar. And they're like, and Mobius has been watching. He's like, that's not nothing. So he goes there with everybody. They get Loki and Sylvie out. They put Loki and Sylvie in different interrogation rooms once they get there. And so they start into it, right, of what's going on. And Loki won't say anything, so they put him in a time loop. This is where Lady Civ shows up, right? And it's this memory of Loki cutting her hair and her telling him over and over again that he'll always be alone because he's unlovable or whatever, and nobody likes him.
Which is a story from mythology, not the comics.
Oh, really? Man, Tim aced his mythology class.
Watch a lot of YouTube videos
okay.
about this stuff. Shout out to New Rock Stars.
Similarly, right, Sylvie is in her interrogation room. The Renslayer won't let Mobius go over there and talk to her. And it's weird that she won't. Eventually, though, Sylvie gets into B-52's mind, right? She by request gets into B-52's mind, right? B-52 takes her back to the Hurricane, so that way they'll be off the grid, and is like, what was that all about? Like, is that no, it's a real thing. Like, you're all variants, and this is a memory. So she puts her back in the memory, and just a really cool scene where we don't get to see what B-52 is seeing, but we get to see her facial reaction. I said B-52. Thank you, Kevin.
Amazing performance.
So good. Crying in the rain. Always good, but she nailed it.
I mean, in terms of performances from this actress, it's sadly number 2. The first, of course, is her in Batman v Superman. You know what I mean? When she said, I don't even think he answers to God, when she was talking about Superman, how he burned down the village. Just a heads up.
Don't even remember that.
No,
just
but like
you do, Andy. You do, actually. She's the one who
Classic line.
testified in front of Congress to set off the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
Thanks for paying attention. I guess your
see,
review really
Andy,
matters.
To dial it back to Kid Twinkie in 1989.
She does have the moment where somebody asks her, like, what did you see? And she was like, I was happy. And it's just like, oh shit, so good. That's really good acting.
And so finally, Mobius pops into the time loop or whatever, and he lets on. They get more of this thing, and it's Loki accidentally reveals through his emotions that he cares about Sylvie, and Mobius lies, says she got pruned already, and then it's like she didn't get pruned. You like her. They go back and forth with that thing. Ramona Flowers, she shows up in Sylvie's interrogation room, and she's like, why are you wet? But she figures it out, and then B-52 is on the run now. And so then it's like, okay, cool. The Time Slayers want to see Timekeepers want to see everybody, right?
Sentence Greg just said. Ramona Flowers walks in and asks B-52, why are you wet? Great.
Ask Sylvie why B-52 is missing. They take him to see the Timekeepers, and they're actually there. All 3 of them are there, looking like weird animatronic toads or whatever. And they all have
voiced by Jonathan Majors.
Who's Jonathan Majors?
Kang.
Wow,
Really?
really?
At the end.
That's cool.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very, very cool.
I do want to give them less credit just because like their voices were terrible and like you could barely hear it what they were saying.
That was pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not his fault. That's the sound mix fault.
I blame him directly.
Okay.
Wow. Sorry, Jonathan.
It's his fault.
Kevin rules with an iron fist. All right. And you either get out of the way or you get crushed by that fist. So sorry, Jonathan, you've been crushed. Everybody, please write him fan mail that says Kevin has crushed you. And so, they talk for a while, and then Sylvie throws her sword at the timekeepers, and its head gets chopped off, and it's a robot. And she's like, they were just robots. And then, they fought already. This is where they were gonna get pruned or whatever. B-52 walked in, and she's like, how about one of these? And tosses the swords to Sylvie. She's like, thanks, B-52. And she's like, love shack. And she leaves. But then they fight everybody, and everybody's fucking fighting around there and shit. And Loki's doing stuff, and he's giving him the business. He got stabbed at one point. Somebody's got a spear or some shit. But eventually, they knock everybody down. She throws the sword, cuts off the head. I thought we were gonna get some answers. Blah blah blah. Loki's like, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. By the way, he's like, I know I've never done this before. And he gets pruned from behind by Ramona Flowers, and Sylvie's like, oh my god. And then Sylvie then does some a Rey Mysterio kind of shit, and then she gets the thing, and she's like, you're gonna tell me everything. And that's where that ends in their thing, right? And then
one thing you missed there is Mobius got pruned during the fight,
right. Thank you very much.
And then the other thing that I thought you were referencing earlier with references to old stuff, but the way that Loki gets stabbed in the back with the thing is like shot for shot the way Loki stabs Coulson in Avengers 1.
Oh wow,
nice. And then Loki wakes up where we don't know, but guess what? There are 4 other Lokis there. There's a Loki with a hammer. There's a young Loki. There's a classic Loki and alligator Loki. And we're like, variants.
We need that in between every
coolest song. God damn,
that would have been cool. So then it's Ramona Flowers getting interrogated by Sylvie, but she's not giving her all the information, and she's like, he got pruned. He gets sent to the void at the end of the time. What happens over there? I don't know what happens to him. This is what goes on over there. What do you want me to do about it? We go over there. And it's Loki hanging out with the other Lokis, and we get some fun Loki on Loki action over here while they run from the big dragon to the sky. They go back to a bowling alley, and they're talking there and hanging out, and they're all telling us different stories, which I really liked, about killing Thor or doing whatever. I'm like, hell, that's really good. Oh, we passed a Frog, voiced by Chris Hemsworth at one point in one of these scenes. And there's Easter eggs and things littered all over this hellscape they live in at the end of time, right? There's the Thanos copter. There's pizza trucks people care about. There's all sorts of stuff going on. Pizza cars, I guess. Not cars made of pizzas, but pizza.
You
cars
see the Pizza Planet. Yeah, the Pizza Planet truck.
And so that's all happening there. And then Sylvie's like, oh, she talks to Ramona Flowers for a little bit. Ramona Flowers doesn't remember anything. It doesn't matter. She's cagey about information. So eventually Sylvie prunes herself to come over there and find Loki. Meanwhile, back at Loki HQ, all the Lokis are they're having a great time, and then President Loki shows up with a bunch of like biker gang Lokis, and then a giant Loki on Loki fight breaks out, and then Sylvie arrives, and she gets picked up by Owen Wilson in the pizza car, and he's like, all right, let's go. And then the fucking dragon thing's chasing him, but the dragon's just a cloud. And I know what you're thinking, so you're just telling me it's Parallax from the Green Lantern movie, and I'm not telling you that. That'd be a stupid thing to say. And so while they're doing that, though, Sylvie's like, wait a second, she almost enchants it by accident. She's like, oh man, I can enchant this fucking cloud that's nothing like the Parallax from Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds. And so enchanted. They get drive over there, and they're like, that's neat. And so then eventually Loki and some of the other Lokis get out, and they're like walking like, oh cool, this is neat. And it sucks that Lokis are so bad to each other, but maybe we're not here to lose. Maybe we're here to do the thing, and there's one better than us, and her name's Sylvie. And so then they drive up on them, and they're like, oh, ready to fight. And they're like, oh no, it's you, and that's you, and that's cool. And so they go and they start hanging out together, and then you get the great scene where Owen Wilson's hanging out with the Lokis, and he's like, what a crazy thing. And like, this is Loki and that's Loki. And he's like, what about that? And he's like, that'd be on par for a Loki, which makes it thing like Loki. And you're like, this is cool. I like this Loki. And so they're having a great time. And then Sylvie and Loki, they're outside, and they're Lokiing it up too. And Loki makes a little green thing for him, and then he makes a little bit bigger for her. And they're like, they're having their moment or whatever. Like, this is cool, Loki love story. And so then it's like, all right, cool. How do we get out of here? Nobody really knows. And then I was like, wait a second. I bet at the center of the not parallax thing, we could go in there if we enchanted it, and we could find the timekeeper man, and then we would know what's up, and we kill him, and then we could be him, and then we could do it. We'll just be free of him, and then everything will be great again. We can kill the TVA. TVA will die. Sylvie, this has been your entire life. This is what you've been chasing. We could Loki it up. Get out of here. We can figure this. It can be done for Loki
Literature Club.
There you go.
Wednesday.
And so they're like, cool, let's do it. And they run over there to do it. And they're like, we're going to do it against the old dragon Parallax man here. I love the part about 30 minutes ago in this episode, by the way, not this episode, but the episode of the show we're talking about right now, where President Loki got his hand bit off by alligator Loki. That was fun. So they drive over there and like it's time to go. And so she starts trying to enchant him, and all the other Lokis are distracting him. Oh, she already knew that like Loki had to be with her. So Loki's holding.
Played Captain Hook in some version of Peter Pan. It was animated, but it was true. So was this a reference? Does it fucking matter? I don't know.
What are you
just giving you the facts? Just giving you the fact. The alligator biting off the hand.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Oh yeah, the clock.
Right. And so Loki and Sylvie Loki have to hold hands while the other Lokis fight. And so they're all fighting the thing, distracting the Dragon Man. And then they're like, we can do this, but we have to, envision enchanting it. We got to envision. And he's like, I can't do it. She's like, yeah, you can. You're strong enough. And he's like, okay, babe. And so they're sitting there holding hands, trying to do it. And then all the other Lokis are doing stuff, and they're getting wiped out, by the Dragon Man. And then finally, classic Loki's like, I'm going to make Asgard to really distract him. So he makes an Asgard out of it really quick. Glorious purpose. Like he gets smushed. It comes down to, just being Loki and Sylvie. And so, like, the thing's coming at him. And at the last possible second, boom, they do it. And we see this little, like, portal opened up to a little floating world or whatever.
Motherfucker turns green.
That's how, and that's where, and so, like, now we got to go in. They got to go inside the thing or whatever. Andy, hit the song.
Bam, 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 bam. So cool. Dude.
And so then now, okay, cool. They, we open up the next episode. They're approaching the Citadel Tower Castle thing. And so they get in there and, Miss Minutes shows up, right? And she's like, he's waiting for you, y'all. And they're like, oh man, cool. Ms.
Jump
Minutes.
Scare of all damn time, man.
And so they get closer and closer and they're expecting like, some big bad or whatever. And the doors open up and it's just a chill dude with an apple. And he's just being super chill about it. And he tells him to get on the elevator and we'll go down, not even a threatening way. Come on the elevator. I'll tell you all about it. And they're like, okay. And they get on there and then they start trying to make moves on him, but he's just zapping all around. Boop, 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 boop. Still eating his apple. And so then he sits down and he starts laying it out and they keep trying to kill him, but he keeps boop, boop, booping around. And he's like, listen, I just know everything, right? Like I am he who remains. I have been here for like ever. Time moves different than the quantum realm, remember? We'll pick up with this in Ant-Man.
I've been here for eons. Like, God dang, dude.
He knows everything. How does he think he knows? He's got a little device on his hand that he can control everything with. And yeah, like basically what happened is that there was already a multi-dimensional war. One of his variants he had figured it out. One of his other variants figured out at the same time that there was a multiverse. They came through and met each other. Everything was chill. They found some more people. Everybody was chill. They kept like expanding and going off each other's technology and like really bringing in, the golden era Nick talks so much about. And so then though, eventually, guess what? They find a bad version and then it's a war and everything's going crazy. And so
I also love how he's telling this story and we see yet another way that Marvel shows certain, not species, obviously, because he's still human, but another way of how they show their technology. Like earlier movies had holograms and they show how Black Panther had their tech where it's like things pop out of the almost like sand kind of looking thing, and then his is like this whatever the hell technology it even is. It's just so cool to see different iterations of how different sort of timelines have different cool tech.
And so, yeah, he lays it out like, basically he's made this sacred timeline here that will keep the multiverse from happening. And that means that there won't be inner multidimensional war that would collapse upon itself and kill everybody and like destroy everything and ruin everything. And Loki's like, and he's like, here's what I want to do. Basically, I'm old. I've been doing this a long time. This is a young man's game. I'd like to retire and you guys take over and you just make sure the timelines don't, you can run the TVA however you want. You can do whatever you want, but like, you got to just make sure that this doesn't happen. Otherwise it's inevitable that more of me will show up and we will have this war and we will have this whole destruction happen. And Loki wants to hear it out and think about it. Sylvie does not. Eventually we hit the point where he who remains is like, that's it. We've crossed the threshold. Like, I don't know what happens from here. This is as far as I've ever been able to see, which is cool. And so then he's enjoying watching them bicker.
Performance.
Yeah. I mean, amazing performance.
The idea that this is just such a long monologue and you are to sit there and kind of just absorb all the information, and at no point did I get kind of bored by any of it because it's just so well performed. I don't disagree with Nick from back when we did the reacts that maybe it could have been shot a little bit different, but it's still, the performance was so captivating that you kind of forget you're listening to a long monologue because it's also interesting and so well performed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think what he's saying is the most interesting aspect of it all. I think the fact that he's wrapping it up and kind of laying it all out for you is always kind of a fun thing and then just the fact that the actual plan, the actual concept behind it is cool, really goes a long way for that scene too.
And so Loki and Sylvie start fighting while talking about it and trying to figure this out. And, this is Sylvie's whole life. This has been her whole existence to get to this point. She wants everybody to have free will. She doesn't want it to be predestined in some kind of sacred timeline. Loki isn't necessarily against that. He just wants to slow down and talk this out and figure this out. But they fight, and they fight. Eventually, though, he stops fighting and she could kill him, but she doesn't. They kiss. But then she throws him through the portal, right, that we were talking about earlier. That was a good call about before everything branches. Throws him through the portal to send him back to the TVA. Then she gets over to He Who Remains and decides she's going to kill him or whatever. And she does. And then he has got that great line of "see you soon," which I fucking love. Because he knows you're about to get more of me and it's going to get really hairy up in this piece.
What's that part of the conversation where he's like, "Grow up, Sylvie"? Like, I just love that delivery. He's so goddamn good in that part because it's played so kind of even keel and chill, and the way that it's played in a way that I love villains to be played, just very calm and controlled. And then he kind of blows up at her and be like, "Look, this is the fucking fact of it. Like, you think that I'm lying about this stuff, but yeah, I'll see you soon." What a dope ass moment.
Super Willy Wonka.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't like the snozberries. So then we pick. He's dead. We see the timeline splitting off into a million different things. We then get to see at the TVA them seeing all the timelines split off. They're like, "What the fuck is going on?" It's Mobius and B-52. What the fuck is going on? And then Loki gets popped into the TVA. He runs over to them. And he's like, "This is happening, and there's going to be a war, and we need to prep everybody right now. It's going to be crazy." And he's talking a mile a minute, and Mobius is like, "Slow down. You're an analyst, right?" And Loki's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You're an analyst, right? What's your name?" And Loki realizes that they don't know him, which I thought meant they were in another timeline, but there have been interesting points raised about the TVA and timelines in this episode. Mm-hmm. And he looks around and sees a statue of He Who Remains rather than the Timekeepers, which was what was there before. And then we get
so cool.
Yeah. And then we get, Loki will return in season 2.
Just to add a little bit more to the theory time stuff. This is one of those things that there isn't answers to. It is just people pointing out some cool observations. But in the beginning of this episode, we see that cool, fun timeline thing of it going through the galaxy to the universe to whatever. And we're hearing all the lines of our real life stuff, but also mixed with MCU stuff. The very first shot is it kind of goes from our galaxy out, and it looks like it goes out through like a black hole and then into a different black hole, into a different place.
Oh, interesting.
Everything in the first bit is all things that we've known from the MCU so far. Everything in the second one is from the newer MCU stuff. And so it's kind of like potentially questioning where the time break is, like when the multiverse shatters. Like, is that all happening in this second thing, which would then explain where another TVA could come from? Because it is a completely separate plane of all of this. And that it's really kind of trying to define where in the actual MCU timeline we know, in the sacred timeline, do we know when did that break happen so far? Like, what shows would that have affected? Because we hear the lines of what is grief if not love persevering and things like that in the second one, as opposed to the first, which would change the lineup of what you're talking about, Greg, of matching up with the kids with Wanda.
Sure. Yeah.
Perfectly. Well, like, it's all, we don't have enough timeline stuff of things that have happened post Endgame to be able to prove or disprove. But theoretically, Spider-Man Far From Home is the furthest we've had so far from Endgame in the chronology of everything. So potentially the multiverse shattering could have already happened even during Far From Home. So the Jake Gyllenhaal talking about multiverse stuff, it's like that could be based on some type of facts more so than we even already thought. But
can you just call Feige, Greg? Can you just call up Kevin Feige?
Ask him some questions.
I'll try.
All right. 7 syllables in the middle. You'll need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. Haiku in review. Haiku in review.
You can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny to write your review in haiku form, just like ZPol6 did Loki stole the cube. Then it was Loki times 2. Kang, we'll see you soon. Garrett says acting was awesome. That finale was insane. Missing those jet skis. We'll get the goddamn jet skis one day. It'll happen.
Will it be too late though? That's my worry.
No, because when they fix this all up and Mobius and everybody's happy, they can do it there.
Okay.
Yeah, we also didn't get a Sylvie upgrade or costume upgrade that was teased in episode 5, so we'll get that sometime. I'm stoked about it. Brandon Monforte says Sylvie set us free. Get Mobius a jet ski? Where's Kid Loki? That's another interesting question. What is up with Kid Loki? Zaid Wilson says a vain, greedy prince must lose the life he had known. Sees his flaws evinced. I don't even know that word. But change will surface. In his friends, he finds his true, glorious purpose.
Oh, wow.
Grant Burton said, yeah, I liked Loki. It's pretty okie dokie. Needed more jet ski. I love that he wrote that whole haiku just because okie dokie rhymes with Loki. And then, of course, Miscellaneous writes the plot in haiku. With the Tesseract has too much of an impact. TVA attack. Finds his variant when some alone time is spent. A Nexus event. Banished to the void. With himself, he gets annoyed. It must be destroyed. True feelings surface. Eliath makes them nervous. Glorious purpose. Meet he who remains, holding multiversal reigns, but he can't sustain. Options he displays. Rift is torn, and then she slays. For all time.
Always. God damn.
Damn, Miscellaneous. Killing the game. You'll love to see it. Now, Andy, hit me with that Ragu Bagu, please.
Ragu. Bagu.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, the podcast within a podcast where we rank all the villains of the Marvel Cinematic Universe paired up with some other things. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, we have currently 39 entries on the list. We need to decide where the TVA and Ramona Flowers are going. We will start.
We should prune this list
to best.
Yeah, always try to campaign for this.
Kevin, you said it last time, and I saw a small groundswell of support behind you, but I didn't see enough about it. Anyway, you know what I mean?
So, folks,
and remember, of course, Kevin, remember what we're here to do. Excuse me, Tim, can I make my case?
You can make your case, sure.
I want, before we get wild here and start pruning the list, start trying to dial the show back, make it shorter, remember our role in people's daily lives. We're here to distract them from just the nightmares that are around every corner. The longer this podcast is on, the more they aren't turning on the radio to find out about the fucking Michelin variant that's going to get us all. The more they aren't over there talking to their spouse who's yakking about having to go to the old mother-in-law's this weekend, all right? And the more we're talking, the less they have to hear the mechanic say, we found out what's wrong with your engine. There was a 7-year inside it. All right, we're here to protect you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I'm with Greg for all time, always. But here's what I propose. I don't want to do it in this episode because we all need to be in a better content mood, boys, to be able to have fun like this. But at some point soon, I want to do come up with tiers for Ragu Bagu. I ain't trying to prune shit. I want to keep it all there, but I want to come up with a tier list so that we can all kind of start it off being like, depending on where we think as a group, start it so we don't need to read the entire
tier
list.
4.
Yeah. And then you read my mind.
What's tier 3? We can start to go. We can decide where it goes. And then at the end, we read the whole list because Greg is right. We were making content that these people deserve, and we can't get rid of the Ragu Bagu Volume 1 list. That would be insane.
I was going to say let's do the 3-fingered tier as the introductory point, and in those they have sub-lists. But it's
I'd like to say this. I don't think it is ever too late to turn around the energy of a podcast. All right, Tim? So if you're telling me right now, while we are doing MCU in review, and while we are doing Ragu Bagu, the podcast within a podcast, you want to go one more level down and do a podcast within a podcast within a podcast, then I say sign me up. Everybody costume change, all right? We back costume here in 4 minutes.
Baby, let's go. Not doing a costume change. Not doing it. Oh, shit. Okay. You know what?
There he is.
Greg's right.
Andy's just gone. Andy's never coming back.
There it is. There it is. Nick, get on board. Get on board or get out of the way of Kevin's fist, all right?
Yes, the Beanie Boys.
We've done it, everybody. We have done it. We're a podcast within a podcast within a podcast. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast within a podcast we call Circumcising Ragu Bagu. I cleared my mind. That's where it went.
Yeah.
I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Hispanic heartthrob.
Heartthrob.
Hispanic heartthrob, Texas street Latino heat, clicking heads and ripping them to shreds. The Globetrotting headshot, Nitro Rifle from Twitch.tv, Andy Cortez.
I'm about to make the first tweet in about 2 years on the Ragu Bagu account, baby.
He's got the best glasses on the panel. He's the glue, Kevin Coelho.
Andy, can it just be we're back?
No, it's circumcising Ragu Bagu.
Forbes 30
That's
under
better, that's
30, aka the second best baby blues in San Francisco, aka the engaged one at Tim Geddes.
Oh, I can't wait for this, baby. Let's do it.
And the producer / seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Andy, how many followers do we have on the Ragu Bagu account?
Let me check. Let's see how many people have unfollowed. 5,800.
Oh, fuck.
That's pretty good.
That
Suck
is a
it, Kate
solid
Herron, you know what I
4,000 longer
mean?
than I thought.
That's pretty good.
Oh no, she does that. No, Kevin, I'm sorry. You're shaking. She has more. We said 5,800 is what we have. She has 50,000. You're right.
Thank you to Arturo
Kate, I take it
182,
back, Kate.
who immediately responded and retweeted and said, snip, snip.
All right, so we have 39 people. Not people, I guess, characters on this list of Ragu Bagu for all the Marvel, Star Wars, yada, yada, yada bad guys. Tim, explain what we're about to do.
Greg, I say to keep it as simple as possible between all of us, we just start at the top of the list. You start naming people.
Uh-huh.
You don't need to speed through it. Just start naming them. And at some point, if we think there's a tier drop off, we call it out and have that discussion there. Okay? We don't need
Sounds good.
10,000 tiers. We're trying to be generous here, trying to create tiers that we all feel good about.
Okay.
That makes sense to everyone here?
Should we make
okay,
this like a 5-tier list? Should we go S, A, B, C, D, F? 6
Sure.
tiers? That's 6?
Sure. I'm super down for that. That makes a lot of sense.
Or the 3-tier system that works for us very well? Good, bad.
No, that's not
Bad,
the
bad.
same. No, that doesn't work that way.
It works very well.
It doesn't.
It's worked in the past.
Not for this.
All right. It's worked well. It'll
Can we
work
do
again.
one tier that's just, we can call it not MCU? And then all the characters that are not in the MCU, we just put them in that tier?
I'm also following Kevin Feige on Twitter from the Ragu Bagu account.
I feel like my question
this
was
is the first
ignored.
time
It was
you're
a very
following
good question.
Can we get his opinion on this?
First time.
So then now we've broken through, you'd say to him. This is the big move.
I think so,
Nick,
yeah.
Nick looks like the Batman villain.
Yeah.
Which
That's
one is
he's
it?
based off of that. The Batman that
Hood?
laughs. Oh, Red Hood, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he looks like the mouth of Sauron. Like it's
Yes,
all the way down to
that's
its mouth
awesome.
is covered and its mouth is all ugly and shit.
Andy,
Wasn't
when
in
he
the
does
movie.
this,
Yeah, it's really gross. It's really
Okay.
gross.
that was some ASMR for you guys. Want to get it again, Tim?
Asmar.
Sucks your ass, man.
Right?
Oh.
I think, Tim, you see it, right?
Oh, I see
do.
that, Kev.
I do.
That tracks. That tracks, Kev. You're good job there. All right. So then you want me to go from the top of the list down.
Mm-hmm.
We will decide when we're no longer in S tier. Is that what we've decided, Andy?
Yeah, I like what Andy said. It is, we'll go through S tier, A tier, B, C, D, or F. Those are the tiers.
Okay.
There is no in between. We need to decide where the delineation lines are for those tiers. Let's
It
start
seems
with
like
S.
it's going to be really hard to track. Just
If you
FYI.
listened, it wouldn't be.
No,
It would be real simple.
I'm not talking
Wow.
about me. I'm talking about Greg. But all right.
I'm doing. I got the tier maker list up right now as
I got
well.
the tier maker list. I've always been the list holder. I got the list. Don't worry about that, Kevin. All right.
Don't worry.
Number
about
1, Thanos, Avengers: Infinity War. Of
Tier 1.
it. S
S tier.
tier. That's S tier.
course, yeah.
S
Well, I
tier.
think we're correct me if I'm wrong. We're not. You don't have to say S tier after everyone. I believe we read them, and then when we get to the first objection, that's
Got
when
it,
you should
got it.
say.
Didn't
"Oh,
understand
got
it at first,
We
didn't
don't
know.
need.
Didn't
Right.
understand first, but got it now.
Got
Go
it.
ahead.
Yeah.
I'll restart then. All right. Number 1, Thanos,
S tier
Infinity
still.
War.
Yeah.
Number 2, The Vulture. Number
Yes,
3,
yes.
Michael B. Jordan, Black Panther. Number 4, Bacon Guy, Civil War. Number 5, Thanos, Endgame.
I would like to say that the S tier ends with Zemo.
I was gonna say that the S tier ends after Michael B. Jordan and Zemo's A.
All right, that's
I
crazy
think-
talking, Andy, and I
think
can't abide
Zemo.
by it.
I think Zemo is S tier, and I can get
Agreed.
behind it ending there. But sorry, what is after Zemo?
After is Bacon Guy is Thanos in Endgame.
Okay, I think Thanos in Endgame is still S tier.
I would say it's A tier. Nick?
I would say Zemo S tier.
Cool.
Where was so?
So
Thanos,
you think Thanos is A? The
In
man who
Endgame?
actually beat the Avengers, achieved his entire
the
plan,
at the
erased
end of
half the
Infinity War.
population of Earth. Great.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I thought
Infinity
that
War.
I'm confused by this. I'm sorry.
I told you it would be confusing for
I
some of
need,
us.
to, I need to be able to see this list somewhere.
All right, I'm sharing. I'm making my document that is
I think
here.
this would just be so much easier. We could all read through it and then just put pins where we think things can go instead of reading through every single one of them.
Okay, hold on, real quick to
I
make sure
actually
I'm
hate
on,
you all. I want that clear. But yeah,
To ma-
let's send the list. Let's do this
to make
right.
sure I'm copying
Not
the list.
everyone has the same mind you do. All
We're-
right,
we're
some
sending
people
it
are
out.
slower.
Just
We're gonna put it
listen.
over
Just pay
here.
attention and
He
listen.
was listening.
We're gonna put
You,
it.
Kevin,
everybody-
you.
But it's too hard for him to
Stop
listen
talking.
sometimes.
Just
It's
stop
in
talking.
general.
That's what
Everybody,
this
it's in
show's
general.
about, Tim.
The real question is, are we now into a fourth podcast? There's Kind of Funny in Review. There's Ragu Bagu. There's now Circumcising Ragu Bagu. But are we about to go into a podcast called Circumventing Circumcision, where we decide how we break up the cuts? What do we do? No, we're fine. Here it is, everybody, right there. Okay.
Oh,
So you're in there,
God
you
damn
see
it.
it.
All right.
But right now,
no, Nick.
That's why I wanted the fucking list. Eat it.
he wrote
Nick
Greg
just,
Sucks.
Nick just
Nobody can
added
see
Greg
that.
Sucks
Yeah.
as the number
Get
2.
that out of there.
on
Maybe
the
I'll
list.
change permissions to anybody with the link in view. We'll do
I'm
that.
kidding. I'm not gonna do it again.
Sure, that's what they all say. View. I've fallen for a KFAF bit one too many times, if you ask me. All right, so currently we are asking this: Bacon Guy S tier. Everybody agrees. Thanos in Endgame S tier or A tier? Personally, since it seems like a lot of people want to drag this nice Titan's name through the mud, I'll come out and tell you: Thanos Endgame still an S tier villain. Fantastic. Achieves his plan, number one.
Absolutely.
Wrecks shop, beats all these heroes that never got beat, snaps at the end, gives us one of the cinema's greatest moments since possibly Look Who's Talking To.
You're right. You're right.
Thank you. I'm
I'd
glad
get-
we had a visual.
You're right. I
Some
think
people
A
needed
tier
it.
starts with Wanda at number 6.
100%.
Cool.
Okay. Then we have it there, ladies and gentlemen. Your S tier looks like this. Number 1, Thanos Infinity War. Number 2, The Vulture. Number 3, Mike MBJ BP. Number 4, Bacon Guy Civil War. Number 5, Thanos in Endgame. I'm looking. There it is. So we're going to go S tier. You know, I can't spell tier. Never have. Never gotten it right on the first try. You got to look at it and go, that ain't right. And then you're going to say I before E, Greg. You know what I'm going to say? Fucking fall off a bridge. Number 6 on the list is Wanda Agatha Hockey. Now, remember,
Darkness,
of course,
yeah.
how I wrote them into my phone and it auto-corrected, is it? Now that we're moving to a new thing, I might go through and I might clean it up. We might clean it up. But right now, Wanda and Agatha from, of course, WandaVision. Then number 7, Loki and Avengers. Number 8, Hell / Grandmaster Thor Rag. Number 9, Ego Guardians 2. Number 10, Mysterious Far From Home. Number 11, Baconator First Class. Number 12.
I think Baconator First Class. I think that's a B tier.
I agree, Kevin. Yeah, I agree that's where Kevin Bacon starts at the B tier.
We're fine with that? That's a fine?
Third that, yes.
Okay. We're putting in A tier.
Yeah, I think Mysterio was too strong to sort of be in the B class. I just loved how
It was
fucked
great.
up he all was. Performance was fantastic. We're not only including the motivations and the setup and everything that they did as a villain, but was the performance good? Was the acting good as the person? Yeah, I think Gyllenhaal killed it.
All right, then. There you have it. Your A tier looks like this: Wanda and Agatha. Number 6. Number 7, Loki from Avengers. Number 8, Hell / Grandmaster Thor Ragnarok. Number 9, Ego and Guardians 2. Number 10, Mysterious Far From Home. We now begin the B tier. 11, Baconator First Class. Number 12, Pierce Logan X-24. Number 13, Stryker. Number 14, Hydra Captain America Winter Soldier.
I think it ends there.
I appreciate that. Just so we have a heads up context on it. Number 15 is Ultron from Age of Ultron. Just to let you know what would be underneath that.
Damn, I just really loved James Spader's performance. I think that elevates it so much for me.
I think also I enjoyed the Jude Law.
I think
I think-
storyline-wise,
okay,
it was
so
really
underneath-
good.
I would say it would end at Deadpool, Francis Angel.
So okay,
No
you guys are ahead of the game. Let me
Well, I'm
narrate
sorry.
it. Let me
That's
narrate it for an
C.
audio listener. So the number 14, Hydra, Captain America, Winter Soldier. Then it's number 15, Ultron and Ultron. Then it's number 16, Kree/Jude Ladd and Captain Marvel. And then it's number 17, Francis Angel, Deadpool. Just so
No, I'm
people have
sorry.
a vision.
Francis would be out. He would be the first.
I understand. I just wanted people to understand where we are on the list. That's all. So then, now we are trying to decide where the B tier villains stop. Is it Hydra, Ultron, Jude Law? I am with you that Francis Angel and Deadpool is a C class villain.
I think Jude Law. Damn, I mean, as forgettable and as much shit as Captain Marvel can get and can be, I still really enjoyed Jude Law's performance.
right, and it was the performance that
And
did it
that,
because
that sort of turnaround and kind of, I actually am the bad guy, and I'm pretty cool looking too. Even though I'm losing my hair, really handsome,
Still handsome.
really handsome.
Still a handsome devil, Andy.
Damn, that's tough for me. That's tough for me. I was kind of like wrestling with Tim's thing of Hydra as the last one in B tier because
Yeah.
I really wanted Ultron to be in B tier just because I love James Spader's performance. But Jude Law was actually kind of low
about
key one of the better parts of that movie.
I can't agree at all about that statement.
That's fine, Tim. That's
You
fine.
don't
That's
have
my
to-
thing is
yeah, you
I
don't have to.
liked Jude Law I liked his performance and I liked everything there, but I don't think his performance lifts the villain any higher. I would think
Yeah.
Ultron for me is where I cut it off, and I say Ultron is the last
Interesting.
B tier.
And
I
I'd
would agree
be
with that.
fine with that.
The
What
chair
were we saying?
recognizes the producer/seducer Nick Scarpino. Do you have anything to add to this conversation?
No, I would agree with that. I would cut it off at above Jude Ladd.
Okay, cool.
All right, so the B's have it then,
I would
right? We're
also
done?
I would also like to move that we don't change the list. I think it's hilarious because I have a sense of humor, Greg.
What I'd like to call out is that the list doesn't change. It's still ridiculous, and we'll still have to,
It's just
You're
that
gonna
we
go
don't
in
have to
and
read
clean
it
up.
every time.
I don't want you to
yeah,
clean it up.
you know, I just like arguing, and so this is going in my favor. Number 16, Kree, Jude Ladd. Number 17, Francis Angel, Deadpool. Number 18, Red Skull. Number 19, Rockwell/Mickey. Number 20, The Dank with his Sentinels. Number 21, Magneto and his Brotherhood. Number 22, Mass/Dormammu. Kevin.
I think that's where that should end.
I
Okay.
agree.
So to be clear, that 22 is Mass, which is Mads Mikkelsen, and Dormammu from Doctor Strange. Then it's the
Dormammu.
Vision from Solo, where we're talking about Solo.
I
movie
think the
Solo.
vision from Solo
could
is
take
the
the vision
beginning of our
off.
D tier.
We could
Paul-
take the vision off.
We're not
Paul-
pruning the list. We're just
not pruning the
organizing the
list.
list. All
All
right.
right.
Paul
I-
Bettany
all right, my bad,
starts
my
off the
bad.
D tier, strong
That
as
was a test, and you all just passed.
See,
the villain from
yeah.
Solo, Star Wars story.
yeah, I'm fine with that. That
I'm
works
cool
for
with
me.
that. I'm cool with that.
Can you put one of those cool color charts at the bottom of this or top of this so I know what the tiers are?
No,
I
you
mean,
just
you will
gotta
never in a
know.
million years look at this list again. So I don't, you know what I mean?
We have to look at this every single time we do a Marvel thing. Now,
I'm gonna read it to
I
you,
don't
baby.
know.
I'm gonna read it to you, baby.
No,
and you're gonna
that's
go,
the whole
oh, I
point of it is
understand.
not. We're not have
Daddy
to read
wants
it. We can
mama's milk, and I'll
take a
give you the
tier and
milk.
go, Daddy does want mama's milk.
Yeah, all right. Don't worry about it. You're gonna get plenty of
I
milk
hate
from
this
me.
now.
My daddy.
I
and
agree with
your
Tim.
mama-
This is
You know,
all
we don't want to
mistake.
talk about who daddy is. Now we are. So again, that is C tier on lock. We are now talking about the D tier. We have 23, the Vision from Solo. 24, Mandarin/Aldrich Killian.
And to call it out here, there's only one tier below this. So this next cut we make is dropping to F tier.
Got it. Number 25, Obadiah. Tony! Number 26, I'm sorry, Franco Malloy in Taskmaster from Black Widow. God, that happened last week, and I still don't understand that fucking reference.
That's crazy.
Draco Malfoy is what I'm trying to say, I believe. Number 27, Loki and Thor. Number 28, Flag Smashers / John Walker and Captain America Winter Soldier. Number 29, Magneto / Phoenix in X3, sorry.
It's a reference.
That's
It's a
F.
reference of another reference. Like
It's so that's so.
he was typing the wrong name of
Dreykov
Draco
is the name of-
Malfoy,
Yeah.
and it became
Franco Malloy.
Malloy. I'm Franco Malloy. I'm a butcher from Philadelphia.
All right, so you're saying Tim has proposed to everybody that F tier begins with Magneto Phoenix? Did I get that right?
God, I love
Okay.
it.
Damn, see, that-
I'd like to.
That sucks for me because, like, I don't disagree, but I really wanted my most hated villain, Cross from Ant-Man, to start off the F tier and be like, it begins with you. You were awful in that fucking movie, dude.
I would say that the F tier should begin at 33. Doesn't matter. Deadpool 2.
Oh, get out of here! That's outrageous.
Ronan from Guardians was decent. Like I think Ronan from Guardians is too low at 32. I agree with Kevin that it should.
Because it's like at that point everything underneath is basically nonsense.
How is crossover Ronan?
It's weird that Abomination's there, but it's like whatever. Everything under there is just utter trash.
Ronan got beat by breakdance fighting, bro. Like, come on.
Ronan got beat by getting like shot.
Here's what I'll say. All right. Here's what I'll say. Ronan, yes, criminally underrated here. He should be higher on the list.
Put him higher.
But one man's life can't stop justice. So like we can't say, well, because Ronan's down there, that means Cross from Ant-Man needs to get into the D list. You know what I mean? Magneto, Phoenix suck.
Cross is F, yeah.
So I mean, like that's
I
think John Walker's great. I think Flag Smasher sucks. I think that John Walker keeps Captain America Winter Soldier in the D tier, and then Magneto and Phoenix just fart their way into F tier.
I'm in. I agree with him. I'm in.
There you go.
I'm glad we did this. This feels cathartic.
It does. It added 75 minutes to this podcast, but it was worth
the kids
it.
want.
I think.
I like
now
this.
Let's do this for the first time officially. Where does the villains from Loki land on Ragu Bagu?
So
it's so hard to
my
say.
one question then is we've now tiered the system. We have the lists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it that we decide what tier they're in, we think, and then we go through and rank them there?
That starts the discussion.
Gotcha.
May I propose?
The chair of Ragu Bagu. Well, actually, hold on. Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
Take
It's going to take me a second. All right. Until next time, this has been Circumcising Ragu Bagu podcast. It's been a pleasure to serve you. Until next time, this has been the Circumcision of Ragu Bagu podcast. It's been our pleasure to serve you. Welcome back to Ragu Bagu, the podcast within a podcast. Yes, the chair recognizes Kevin Coelho and some dope glasses.
I would like to propose Class B for this. B class ranking.
And we are doing Ramona Flowers in the TVA.
And Kang.
I wouldn't necessarily. I wouldn't say.
I think just the TVA, right?
Yeah.
Just
TVA.
including Kang.
Yeah. How are we doing that? That's a great question. Are we saying
TVA
He Who
and
Remains?
Mm-hmm.
He Who Remains.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck. That makes it real.
So you're including Ravonna in that, right?
Yeah. As the TVA.
She's in TVA, so that makes sense. Yeah. He Who Remains and TVA.
TVA. I think you can just call it TVA because He Who Remains is the leader of the TVA. We just don't find that out till the last episode. And I think that it belongs in the B rank and top of the B rank. That's all.
I would go A rank.
Damn.
This is a tough one. This is
a tough one.
And you start looking at these B and A ranks, you got some good stuff happening here. Number six starts the A and we'll go all the way through B. Number 6 is Wanda, Agatha. Number 7 is Loki and Avengers. Number 8 is Hela / Grandmaster and Thor, Ragnarok. Number 9 is Ego and Guardians 2. Number 10 is Mysterious and Far From Home. Then we go into the B tier, which is number 11, Baconator First Class. Number 12, Pierce Logan, X-24. Number 13, Stryker. Number 14, Hydra, Captain America, Winter Soldier. Number 15, Ultron. Now, just to continue this conversation, right? Yes, and I think if we go B, top of that list, like I think number 11 immediately. But I liked. Well, I guess we're not dethroning. We just start worrying about tiers now for the first time. It's not dethroning Mysterious to toss them in here.
This is tough, Greg, because like, has there ever been anybody in any of these movies that has done more with the amount of time than Jonathan Majors did as He Who Remains? He absolutely fucking killed it. And obviously all of the dark stuff happening with the TVA, Ravonna pruning Owen Wilson was heartbreaking. There were a lot of those moments that I thought were really strong and just sort of had these awesome, mysterious moments to them. Fuck, I don't know if I don't know if I could put this in A tier though.
Really?
I would start with it started for me with S tier, but I bump it down to A because of Renslayer being one of my least favorite things about the show as a whole. But I think that everything Andy just said, like what this show set up and completed in one loop in the 6-episode run was so strong. Setting up the rules of time, how the secret timeline works. It feeling like a fake out, but then them committing to it not being a fake out. Miss Minutes being this character that's fucking creepy and weird and only gets creepier. Like, I think that the bad guys being in the variants, even and all the Lokis and shit, like, I think the villain side of this was really, really, really strong. Let alone the fact that Loki our hero came into this as the main villain from Avengers 1, and kind of this show did a good job with dealing with villains. So for me, it's top of A rank.
This is so wild, Tim, because I'm looking at B class. I'm like, I don't know. I love Kevin Bacon in First Class. And then when I start considering A tier, I go, yeah, it's better than Wanda and Agatha for sure. That's wild.
But is it better than Mysterio? Mysterio. That's the thing that trips me up. Because I look at that and I'm like, no, Mysterio is a better thing. So then it isn't a lesser tier, is the way I see it.
I think it's way better though than Loki from Avengers, Hela from
That's the thing,
Thor
is like,
Ragnarok,
sure,
but
we're into that personal thing again, Kevin.
Yeah.
We're talking about one innocent man. What does it do to the pot? Like, I think personally, Hella Grandmaster, I like, so much in the A tier here, but I can't sit there and be like, I think that,
Goldblum's so good.
It's so good, right? Shit. Like, for me, it's an easy jump above Ego, but I do like Mysterio a lot from Far From Home. But then in the same breath, Far From Home is like one of those movies I'm like, oh, our MCU rewatch still needs to watch it, and that's been that way for months.
Yeah,
I just haven't been motivated to jump back and watch it for some reason.
So well acted. It's so well acted.
He's great. Jake Gyllenhaal, great.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I gotta go with Tim here because I am in that same spot as y'all are. Like, I like this villain better, but they're below that villain and blah, blah, blah. The same sort of thing, song and dance we run into. But I do think that everything that was set up, including Jonathan Majors' performance, should go above Wanda and Agatha at number 6 in the A tier.
So wait, are we for sure going with A tier then? We have the
I think
votes
so,
for that?
yeah. I vote A tier.
Oh,
Excellent. 3 votes. Good.
Okay.
Nick, any thoughts?
Fine with, but I mean, it's somewhere around the Wanda Agatha, because I think the concept of the TVA is just super strong. Kind of what they represent is terrifying. So I could see like maybe put them at number 7.
And
I
the
still think
idea
Wanda
of
was a little bit more emotional for me because she was the bad person, but you empathize with her, which I thought was kind of unique. Whereas the TVA is cool, but I don't think there's a whole lot of uniqueness there as far as what they were after, what they're aiming for. It's more like a oppressive regime that's sitting over Loki. But yeah, I don't know.
I love the sinister nature in Jonathan Majors being like, you could kill me, and you'll release all the free versions of all the other variants of me, and they're a lot scarier. And then that I'll see you soon moment. God damn, it's just so powerful in such a small time.
A lot of that scene, I wanted that scene to hit a lot harder, but the scenes that hit for me, I think Wanda's like performances in those scenes hit way harder for me in WandaVision. I just think I vibe with that so much more because it had a lot more subtext in it for, coping with loss and things like that. So I don't know. I kind of vibe with that overall story more. So I think I'm more inclined to be more empathetic toward the bad people or the antagonists in those stories. But for sure above Loki from Avengers.
Greg, where are you?
You're all making great points. All right.
Yep,
I won't lie to you. Usually diarrhea out of all your mouths. This is some good stuff. You're giving for a change. Thank you. And it's that, I don't know. Like I'm
inevitable.
Don't I look like an anime character when they have like just their glasses lenses are all white?
Yeah.
And they go we have to get there soon.
That's like, well, let's text Andy and see if he hacked the planet yet. And we get over you and you're having like your 4th cappuccino, playing chess and hacking the planet.
I mean,
that was cool what I just said about you. Andy.
Yeah, he's better than Loki. He's better than Loki for sure. And then you get to this Wanda Aga thing, and that's the actual fight of the matter, right?
Now, Greg, let me try to persuade you.
Thank you. I need some help here. I'm a swing vote, guys. I don't know.
Is that Wanda Agatha's fucking awesome, but the whole show ended with just a giant CGI fest of Scarlet Witch versus Agatha, and that wasn't good. And then on top of that, the whole villain subplot of Agent whatever the fuck his name is was almost F tier with how it all came together.
I would also like to, my vote was for putting it in B. Now that the discussion has moved to A, I will say number 6, top of A.
All right, then. It's got the votes then, right?
Yeah, It has the votes. Sorry.
There you go. Well, no, I was going to go that way anyway. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen,
excellent.
on the Ragu Bagu list, He Who Remains. I have to actually write it. He Who Remains / TVA entering at number 6, the top of A tier.
There we go.
Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you on Ragu Bagu.
And now it's time to rank the MCU. Kev, can you please bring up the rankings? Number 1, we have Endgame. Number 2, Infinity War. Number 3, Homecoming. Number 4, Civil War. Number 5, Ragnarok. Number 6, Winter Soldier. Number 7, Guardians 2. Number 8, WandaVision. Number 9, Avengers. Number 10, Guardians 1. Number 11, Iron Man. Number 12, Far From Home. Number 13, Black Panther. Number 14, Doctor Strange. Number 15, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Number 16, Captain Marvel. 17, Ant-Man and the Wasp. 18, Ant-Man. 19, Black Widow. 20, Iron Man 2. 21, Age of Ultron. 22, First Avenger. 23, Iron Man 3. 24, Hulk. 25, Thor. 26, Dark World. Nick, let's start with you.
Are you gonna start with me?
Where do you want to start the bid?
I'm probably gonna be a lot lower than you guys on this. Probably right above Falcon and Bucky.
So under Doctor Strange, above Falcon Winter Soldier. So you're thinking at the new number 15.
Yeah, I would say 15, bumping Falcon and Winter Soldier down one rung.
Yeah, I
enjoyed this
definitely
more than that. I was gonna say I enjoyed this more than that. I think it was much more of a cerebral and cool concept, and I like all the time jumping stuff. But having said that, again, to my earlier point, like great show, good show. It just really didn't, it didn't hit that greatness for me that I'm hoping that some of these TV offerings will hit.
Yeah, for me, I'm definitely a lot higher, and I feel like a case can be made with the idea of tiers and how the MCU list always kind of shakes out nowadays of how the rankings vary from our rankings to, or like personal rankings to our rankings as a whole. I think anywhere from under Iron Man at number 12 all the way up to under Winter Soldier at number 7. But I'm going to put my vote at number 8 above WandaVision. So Guardians 2 and then Loki and then WandaVision. Kevin Coelho.
I really enjoy this series, and I think honestly, for me, it's at a number 6 right now. It would push down Winter Soldier. I really, really liked it. I thought it did so much, and it has done a lot for the MCU going forward. It will dictate Phase 4.
Andy Cortez.
More.
I'm right with you, Tim. I would put this at number 8 underneath Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and above WandaVision. And I think that, Greg, when you and I have our MCU podcast, I will be moving WandaVision down several spots. So keep reminding me about that.
Sure, everybody make a note to remind me to remind Andy. That'll be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
No problem.
Then for me, I was gonna go and say, even though it breaks my heart to do it, because again, we have to break down the tiers here one day. But for me, I think this goes in at number 7, so below Winter Soldier, above Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Wow.
Wow.
So just to let me get this straight, we're gonna go in here and actually do tiers for this one as well in this podcast.
Not today. No. But one day.
Coward.
One day, Nick.
One day.
See, I'm sitting here.
Now. I'll do a podcast on the podcast.
No, not right now. Not right now. And I think this one will be quicker and easier, anyways. But looking at this, with the votes, it would be the new number 8 above WandaVision and below Guardians 2. But if one of us changes our mind and goes higher, it would be above Guardians 2. And I just don't think I can do that because Guardians 2, I think, has so much fucking heart.
And it's so strong all the way through as well.
Yondu. All right.
Yeah.
This
I'm keeping my vote there. So
I'm
Loki
just saying
then
this show is
number 8.
strong the entire way through, and it's 4.5 hours or whatever.
But it doesn't
That's
have a
a lot of
Yondu
show.
moment. It doesn't have a Yondu moment. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
It does, though.
Yeah.
I think it has a lot of great moments.
It has a
Movies
lot
can
of great
prove
moments.
it's
It
great.
doesn't have a Yondu moment though.
Yeah.
It
At what
does
point
not
did you
Yondu.
cry during this movie?
It's
Yeah.
true.
It
Yeah,
is
it
a
didn't
show.
push me to those limits.
Like
Come on, bro.
uncontrollably
I
cry.
fucking
But
think
it,
about
like,
that scene.
it-
I think about the scene at the end where they
every
all like
single
salute him, and I'm just like fucking tears down my eyes.
Every single time the episode ended, I was like, fuck, I cannot wait for next week. The anticipation was at an all-time high. Hard nipples the entire week.
I
Wow.
had half a hard nipple at best.
Wow.
So then number 8 is Loki with WandaVision at number 9. And there you go. That is the new ranking of the MCU for In Review. Like I said, we will return later with Pixar In Review. Then in a couple short weeks, we're returning to DCEU In Review with James Gunn's The Suicide Squad.
Cannot wait.
Until then.
Hakuna Matata.
For all time, always.